Good evening. You all right? Thank you all for coming out tonight, and
thank you.
Welcome to the fourth Hardcore Listing Live show.
Yeah, we've done well.
Yeah,
and, in 6 months.
It's all right, isn't it?
Doing good. Well, sort of.
So tonight we are going to be counting down top 5 things about Essex. And I presume most of you here are from Essex. Anyone not from Essex? You don't really count.
Oh, bless. You are in the minority, then, it looks.
And so it's a wealth of culture and such. So we'll be discussing that with an array of guests. And those guests are a great bunch of creative, exciting, fun people that we've had as guests and some we've not had as guests.
Yep.
And
then just me and you.
And just me and you.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get started, though, because we did say this was the kind of Christmas one, right?
Right.
So I brought you a little present.
Oh, why have you done? Why didn't you mention that? Because I ain't bought you one.
Let's have a look.
Is it going to be something about me being old?
No. Right. So, there's your first present.
Thank you. Podcast gold, this.
Yeah. I'd say we edit it, but everyone knows we don't edit anything.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. You're welcome.
Quite like that.
Do you like it?
Yeah, man.
Lovely. I bought me one as well.
Have you got yourself something really cool and fucking gangster?
Right, let's have a little open of this. And I did actually get you another little present as well.
Okay.
So you got to wear it, though,
okay.
right? Okay. Oh, bless you. You got 4 ears. And that's for you as well.
Thank you.
That's a real present. I was being genuine with that one. So don't worry about getting me one, mate. It's fine.
So Chris has bought me a elf hat, which I'm currently wearing if you're listening to this. What we should say that we're recording this, so this will come out in the new year. And what's the date today? It's the 7th, isn't it? 7th December. So
yes, indeed.
We're being festive, nice and early.
Yeah, we're getting stuck in there.
And you've actually bought me my favourite film.
It's your favourite movie, mate. Your favourite movie.
Now,
he's got American Werewolf in London there, which is his favourite film. But I did go one better for you.
Okay.
I got a mate at Pinewood Studios.
Right.
Right. And he has access to their costume department.
Right.
And they got you a little bit of one of the costumes inside that DVD case.
This is going to be your pubes, isn't it?
Certainly not.
It's your fucking pubes. I knew it'd be your fucking pubes.
That's the scene with the wolf.
Right, so
that's
the hand comes
animal
out.
with the wolf.
Right.
And yeah, that's that scene. It's that very scene.
Fucking ridiculous. Okay, right. So Harry's going to run tonight. We're going to have 3 guests in the first half, and then we're going to have a little break so you can get some more beers and stuff like that. If at any point you can't hear any of the mics, just shout out, can't hear what you're fucking saying, and we'll turn it up.
And this is a weird one because we know a lot of yous lot this time, so we don't know if that's more terrifying or not. If you've brought vegetables and stuff.
It is weird because I'm looking out and I'm literally seeing like loads of people I grew up with and was in bands with and worked with in clubs and stuff, and it does feel a little bit more intimidating than. And it's lighter in here. When we do the London shows, it's pitch black, so you can't really see anything behind.
You don't know what you're touching, mate. You just reach in and things are going places, and you just don't know.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Right. So we're going to start. We're going to have the 5 guests up, and we're going to do 5 top 5s, and we might even have 6. Does anyone want to hear from Pip? Relax, mate. Relax. Okay, so we're going to keep it relatively clean because Pip's mum's here tonight, and normally you say really offensive things, don't you?
I do, and I've already apologised to Jenny. So I went straight up to Jenny. I was like, "I'm really sorry. I say bad things about you because you're not. When I'm joking,
I'm going to say stop talking now because you're going to dig a fucking hole."
Right, let's stop there. Yeah. Let's cut it there. I think.
Right, so we're going to start with you and your favourite thing about Essex.
Me?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
No, I'll go. I'll do the first one in the second half. So you go first. You talk
okay.
about what you like about Essex.
So I was torn between 2, and I might give the second one at some point, when conversation dries up. But it may involve the Dagenham handshake. Right, so my favourite thing...
I mean, that's gold, isn't it? I might do that if it dries up. Strap yourselves in, guys. It's going to be a very entertaining evening.
Does anyone recognise this? It's a fucking Baz card, mate, that.
I've no idea what a Baz card is.
Yeah, that's because you're from Grays, pal. Did you not have the equivalent?
No.
This is amazing, this thing. So back in, this was, I think I got this when I was 7. It was valid until 1994. And I used to go to Gloucester Park swimming pool, and they'd be like, that's £1.80, please, mate. And I'd be like, have that. £1.20.
It's all about life goals, mate.
That's my favourite thing about Essex, my Baz card, people. The Baz card was wicked because for me, it was just quite a community thing. Everyone had a Baz card, and it's kind of the hope of that community of doing some cool shit, and you could go to Robin's Cinema and you could get a discount. And I think that's kind of nice that I had that as a kid, and I'm wearing a wicked jacket in there. So my fashion peaked at 7.
So what we'll do is we'll take a picture of the Baz card and we'll put it on our social media when this comes out, so listeners actually get a visual representation of Chris's jacket and his shit haircut.
Did anyone else have a Baz card? Many Basildon goers here? Yeah. Has anyone still got them? Nope. They still work.
I didn't think you was allowed to go to them swimming pools anymore. That court injunction thing got a bit heavy, didn't it?
The weird thing is, I used to love going to swimming pools as a child. As an adult, I still do, but for completely different reasons.
Should we get our first guest on?
I used to love that. So Basildon was a wicked place. I used to love Gloucester Park swimming pool and doing all that. And as soon as you said best thing about Essex, I always get reminded of the classic Baz card and what it represented. So
are you welling up?
Yeah. All right. It. That's my number 1.
Well, should we get our first guests on?
Sure.
So our first guests have been previous guests in the Whiff-In, where we drank a lot of tea. We didn't drink a lot of... we did drink some booze as well, if I remember rightly. Yeah, but we did drink a lot of tea and ate a shed load of biscuits. Yeah. And the lads went off on one how basically they've been in the band since they were 16, and it was the biscuits that was the thing that solidified the band when they were having their Mariah Carey moments and having hissy fits. It was like, right, let's go and get some biscuits.
Hobnob's got them through tough times.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, our first guest, so please show your appreciation, is Mitch and Dan from TheMilk. I'll just move Chris's pubes off the chair.
Oh, sorry, mate.
How you going, gents?
Very well, mate.
Good.
Thanks for agreeing to come on. There's a little extra present for guests.
Fucking hell, Chris, you're really making me look fucking bad.
In here are 2 things from Christmas.
Putting my head in your sack.
We could go for it, Mitch.
Chris has got a stocking, and Mitch is blindly putting his hand in there.
Just the one. So these are 2 spherical objects that you find at Christmas that you eat. Some are good and some are bad.
So Mitch has just pulled out a small circular gold, what can only quite looks like a love egg.
See what you got.
What have we got?
Oh, this is exciting. Well, you don't have to eat it.
Going in my mouth.
One is raw, one is perfect.
It's got to be a sprout.
Amazing, a
Or
sprout.
Ferrero Rocher.
Have you got a Rocher?
It's a Ferrero Rocher.
Oh.
Dan wins.
Dan, you won that one, mate, I'm afraid. So in here for all the guests, there's a mixture of Brussels sprouts and Ferrero Rocher.
Good work.
They took ages to
I've
wrap.
been slagging you off all day saying you're disorganised, and you've actually become really organised today.
What have you brought to the table, apart from your sparkling personality?
A pint.
Okay, cool. Right.
Okay, so we've asked all our guests to think of something that they love about Essex, and you boys grew up in Wickford, yeah?
We did indeed.
And a brief update since we last met. You played a sold-out show in London at the...
Coco.
Coco. And then Friday before last, or last Friday, you played a homecoming show.
Yeah, it's our first gig in Essex for like 6 years. So
Wow.
it was basically a party for friends and family.
Yeah. Just a party. It was great at the Chinneries. So
Yeah.
it was
Good night.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Sold loads of merch.
Loads of
Paid for
hangovers
Christmas,
the next
didn't
day.
it,
You did pay for
Yeah.
Christmas, yeah.
Well, we actually had that. We done a tour in October, like around the country, and they had Chinneries as part of the tour. And we were like, why the fuck do I want to give, 15-20% of the income of that gig to an agent? So we said, no, we shouldn't do that gig because we'll be deterring fans from the London show, which is like the big one. And they were like, you know what? That's savvy thinking. We come off tour, we booked up Chinnery's the week later. So we don't have to give them 20%.
We're not sure how well that's going to go down with the agent.
I'm a massive fan when bands decide not to go via promoters and do it themselves.
Overrated. That's why you've not bought any presents, isn't it? Basically.
I was hoping the Milk were going to do the brush and I was going to clear up. There you go. So, back in the studio working on the third album?
We are, yeah. It's sounding good as well. Yeah.
The bulk of the work's going to start next year, really.
Yeah.
You know, we're starting that Christmas hiatus because we've got a lot of gigs coming up still in December.
And my brother, bless him, who's in the band, if you don't know, he decided to go to Costa Rica for a month. We done it last year. We went to Australia for like the whole of January last year, and he's kind of just bought into the idea that he doesn't work or exist in the real world in January. So the whole album's on hold until he gets back, really. Well, actually, we'll probably write the thing.
Yeah, we'll probably have it done by then. We just need to go.
Just to clarify,
this is a shrewd mood by your brother.
Luke just stands on stage and looks good looking, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's his role, isn't it?
Basically his thing.
He doesn't age.
No.
You're fucking haggard. Do you know what I mean? You're struggling today, aren't you? The first thing you said to me was like, "I'm in a bit of a bad way, mate." You said you'd had 4 Stellas before you got here.
I started drinking at 4 o'clock to get myself level.
We're only good when we drink tea, right?
It was but 24 hours ago-ish that I woke up on a train arguing with myself. So, yeah.
Was you on the way back? Because have you ever gone to the end of the line and then started heading back?
A few times, yeah.
I hope you was heading back. If you was going out for a night out and you was asleep arguing
You know
yourself.
what? I got a cool story and it's worth mentioning it. You was there, Arthur. Was you there this one?
Probably, Mitch.
We went to the Brits, okay? When at the height of our powers, what was it, 2012?
Yeah.
We was at the Brits, and that's a story in itself. Noel Gallagher on pills and this sort of thing, right?
No.
Yeah, it was fucking amazing.
Naughty, yeah.
But we ended up, we was like, fuck it, we're gonna stay there to the end. And we got the train home, and it was about sort of 6:30. We got the train home in the morning, and we collapsed and all fucking fell asleep. Went all the way to Southend, and I remember it was a weekday as well. It was like a Thursday, so we woke up Friday morning, and I was sprawled across 3 seats, right? And I wake up, sort of one eye opens, and there's all these people in suits. They're all going to work. There are people standing because there's not enough seats for them to sit down. And I'm like, fucking like this. And I've woke up and gone, excuse me. Got off that carriage, walked like 3 carriages down, and sat down in that one. Like, all right, how's everyone? Good morning.
Acting like it didn't happen.
Fucking dick.
We did a weird thing on a train that involved, like, we'd gone to see Wolf Mother, I think, and we'd had a few drinks. And on the way back, I think a few guilty parties are in this room, actually. And basically what happened was there was this suit, and he'd obviously been at work, he'd had a busy day, and he was already asleep on the train, and this carriage was empty. And I was like, let's all sit next to him, but without any clothes on.
No.
You have strange ideas, Chris.
Really strange, Chris.
And so we all got naked.
Whoa. So all of your mates were like, yeah.
Everyone
fucking do that.
You know, sometimes I throw things out there and I get a very bad reaction. Everyone sort of like went, okay. Started taking their clothes off. So this poor lad, it was amazing because he, when he opened his eyes, he sort of like went, and he was seriously freaked out by that. And then we went down the train.
Was anyone else freaked out on the train?
Well, it was weird because we started going down the
Sorry, you don't need to clarify that.
Of course they were.
We started walking down the train asking for people's tickets.
Naked?
No.
Well, I think sometimes we covered up bits, like with socks over bits.
That's nice.
Yeah, if we were respectful. But we, one of the people we asked for tickets was a person that we shared halls of residence with at uni, and it didn't end very well. It ended on a bit of a sour note. And about 3 years later...
That smooth it all over.
3 years later, he sees us all naked trying to ask for people's tickets. So I'm thinking he's thinking in retrospect he made the better decisions after uni.
I think so.
Life choices.
Yeah. I mean, if he would have played his cards right, he could have been sitting in the Civic Hall in Grays on a Thursday night handing out bags of his own pubes. All right, well, look...
Sorry about that.
So we're going to start with you for your top 5. And what is your... We've only got one. So what is your one?
Well, we come up with the idea that
is it one each or one between
No, just the one. Just the one.
Yeah, all right. We'll go with what we said then.
Yeah.
Our favourite thing about Essex is often outsiders' warped and distorted views on Essex people and the county itself.
Massively.
You know, we're very lucky to, you know, we tour the country or whatever. We kind of know the most, you know, been to most towns, drunk in most pubs, you know, met a lot of different people of our lovely nation. And when they say, where you from, man, you know, Essex, and they, it's like a snigger.
Yeah.
It's like,
Always.
where the fuck you
Always
from?
a snigger.
Yeah.
And there's these connotations that kind of stick with us, like from fucking stilettos and all that shit from the 80s, as if that still exists. Is that, you know, and then
Yeah, it's not been helped by the Towie
Towie
thing either.
thing.
And it's one of the things we realise from being interviewed a lot is that people will always ask us what we think of Towie, as though it means anything
Yeah.
to us,
Yeah, yeah.
as though it's some kind of representation of who
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
live 15 minutes
That
down the
you
road.
need to sort of like apologise or talk about it. A bit like that Harry Enfield sketch where he's the German. He's always having to
Yeah,
apologise
yeah,
for
yeah.
their
Do you know
actions.
what?
But we've got, all of us have a mutual friend in James Buckley.
Yep.
And he was in a video with you, so that he directed a video for you, didn't he? And I remember when the first In-Betweeners film first come out, and he was doing the press for it, Towie had just blown up. And he constantly would say, in every interview, whoever it was that was interviewing him would go, do you know Mark Wright? And he was like, nah.
No, mate.
And he was like, do you know blah, blah? Yeah. But he said, like, you know, it was so weird that he just presumed that everybody knew that and everyone in Essex kind of
everyone
had
cared.
fake tans and had loads of money and just went out every night drinking expensive bottles of vodka and such.
Well, I've seen about 10 minutes of that show, if that, and it was a scene where some dick was in a swimming pool with his nan
Yeah, that's the one I saw. Yeah.
and telling his nan about some girl he had sex with. I was
Yeah.
like, fuck, no,
I've
I'm
had
not
enough
having
of
that, man. What the fuck's all that about? How does that represent me? Like, we
I'd
had-
like to see that pan out a bit longer, that scene.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Get your Baz card out, mate.
Wait a minute.
Hold on, then. Let's just watch this. See what they're doing now. Sorry. Yeah, it is. It is tragic.
60p off.
Yeah, I've never, and it is, you're so right. Anytime you go, where are you from? Essex, they're like, why is that funny? It's like, and because, which we'll get on when I get to my number one, well, my one choice for my top five, which is the kind of polar opposite of that perception of Essex, and it's a fucking joke that people think that.
I'll say this with the Towie thing, we had like a catalogue response that we kind of said every time they asked it, and it was surprising how many times we were asked. And we was in fucking Ireland, and they were still asking the same shit.
They're infatuated by it, man.
And our response was, I mean, we tend not to give it that much time, you know, to talk about it. But our response was, there are fucking dickheads everywhere, in any kind of period, you know, place. There are loads of dickheads.
I genuinely wonder why you pointed at me there. I'm
Just a
like,
geezer in a Santa hat with a badge saying boobs on.
we're recording. I'm just behaving. For the moment.
They didn't used to be. But yeah, they film ours. They a camera crew follows our, you know, the dickheads in our county for whatever reason, and that's basically the difference. There's a fucking dickhead. There's dickheads in Scotland. They're you know what I mean?
Let's not pick on the Scottish.
Mate,
They walk among us. Is my point.
Jesus, Mitch,
They
you're
just-
racist.
they
Piss
just-
off, what's your
they
business,
just
Scotland?
we gotta get him off now, Stu. It's gonna
give them a mince pie.
But we'll touch on this as well because two guests from another band that whose album you've just produced, funnily enough, they're Brentwood boys, and I want to chat about what Brentwood's like now because from what my understanding of it is it's a tourist trap now that people turn up on coaches. Like, but we'll save that for when them boys come up. But yeah, it's a very warped perception of Essex, and I do think that echoes back to the 80s and the kind of Sharon and or Dave and Tracy car stickers and white stilettos and that.
Is that where it started? Because I
Definitely.
don't know where the stereotype.
Well, I'm old as fuck, so like.
Of course,
You started it.
Like, so you know, I remember, and it was the whole thing with like the whole sort of the southern soul scene, not the northern soul scene, but the southern soul scene was huge, obviously in the 80s as well, and that was all kind of tied in. There was lots of casual dresses, but that whole thing where girls had big perms and white stilettos and it. But then for some reason it become a thing that Essex girls were like easy, and it's like that's a bit of a wild generalisation, right? It's like
I mean, we've travelled the world and they're not the easiest.
yeah. I'm glad we put that one to bed.
But I think like
I'm hoping my wife isn't going to listen.
where's
Stu,
she
can
from?
we edit that bit out, please, mate?
Shit.
So, growing up in Essex, like, how did you become kind of, because it's an easy thing, you know, growing up in Essex to kind of, that whole thing of, now I'm generalising, but go to London, get a job in the city, and it's the kind of way where most people in Essex go to try and make their money in the city. So, why was you different? Why did you just think, do you know what?
Well, no, I did. I mean, I did. I finished my A levels. I didn't know what I wanted to do. The band was going, but wasn't really serious. And I ended up working in London for first year before I went to uni. I hated every moment of it because I didn't get it. I didn't understand sitting on the train every morning, commuting. It was just dreadful. So I mean, I went down that route. I know you worked in London for a bit as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a bit different for me when it. I worked in a recording studio, which was. Yeah, it was wicked, but it was fucking intense. They paid you nothing, and they kind of insisted that you was the lucky one to be working for them. You know what I mean? So crazy hours for no money.
But that's surely in the kind of more creative environment. That unfortunately is the way it is, because it's in demand, isn't it? Everybody wants to be in a band. Everybody wants to, you know, work in a studio and things like that. And it does come at a cost, unfortunately, where you can't go and earn great money straight away. It is like you have to cut your teeth. And I think the people that see that through, props to them, because like
it's also the people you work with. Like you could be in that environment and the people around value the fact that you're doing it for pittance and aren't jumped up cunts. But I think that you also get that, you know, you might get unlucky. You go to a record label. One of my first jobs was terrible. I came out of uni. I worked in a steakhouse for a bit. But I did recruit.
Can we talk about the steakhouse a bit more?
18 months of it was awful actually. But
What
before that,
what were you doing in the steakhouse?
being a waiter, and it was Australian, and it's painful, man. I didn't like it. I like the people, but it was the general public. They're always arseholes, aren't they? But before that, I
Lovely.
did.
Hi guys.
I did.
thanks, guys. Appreciate your effort
Put your
tonight.
hands up if you don't think general public aren't all a bunch of pricks. There's not one person. But I'd worked at recruitment consulting, and that was the worst environment I've ever been in. I went into London and did that for about a month, and they'd show me their paychecks. They'd be like, "Oh, I've cleared 14 grand this month," and I'd be like, "Oh wow, this is cool." And for a minute, I nearly fell into that, and then I realised I don't want to. Not all recruitment consultants firms may be like that. I'm pretty certain they're not. But my experience of it was so dark. I was like, I can't ever go back to it, man. So.
But you must have had those jobs at uni, right? You know, when you were at uni, those jobs you have in the summer. Because I had some doozies, man.
God, what did you do, Dan?
There was two that spring to mind. Mitch knows I've had about 100,000 jobs. Two springs to mind. One was working the night shift in a cardboard box factory, right?
Man.
And the shift was 3 in the morning till 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was packed. You know those office cardboard box things you get, where it's like office furniture made out of cardboard, where you put like file
Flat pack things.
that kind of thing. Yeah, it was putting them into cardboard boxes.
Boxes in boxes.
Boxes in boxes. I mean,
Sick.
that'll flip you out, especially if you're smoking a bit of the Tibet, you know. And the other one was I worked in a spice factory in Biddericke. And it was where they
I mean,
made
that shit's
that
rife
code
on the
word?
streets now, man.
Yeah,
You was ahead of your time, man.
different kind of spice, man. It was where they made the Pret-a-Manger seasoning, and they made it by the barrel. And I was in there with a spade, a full white suit, spading in garlic powder, pepper.
What?
I did that for 3 months. That's bad times, man.
Fucking hell.
Bad times. I'd just been disqualified for driving as well, so I had to get the bus everywhere. So I stank to high heaven.
At least you're still rock and roll.
Oh, man. Living the dream.
You was covered in beads as well in that period, if I remember.
I also had hair.
Fucking beads. Yeah. You look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, well, look, thank you very much for making the effort to come and see us tonight and have a little think. But we've got to be quite ruthless with timings tonight.
It's a shame because we didn't touch on the secret nuclear base stand, did we?
Which is the best thing about Essex.
Oh, we need to talk about that. I know you had a little hissy fit on Facebook, didn't you, that if we didn't talk about that, you weren't coming.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just think it says a lot about what the country thinks about Essex, is that when, you know, the shit was going to hit the fan during the Cold War, they decided that where do we want to preserve life? Essex. Yeah,
Repopulate.
That says a lot about actually what Essex is all about.
It's a shit secret, though, isn't it?
Well,
it's a shit secret because I did a bit of research. What did I put? Secret nuclear bunker. Google finished it. Bunker Essex, and then on the website, it's
That wasn't what you was looking up.
Have you been there?
No.
Have you been there?
yes.
Did it?
It's fucking insane.
Do you know we went weirdly? Do you remember we went? It was about five. We woke. We had the night out before. We woke up hammered, drunk the next morning, and went fuck it. Let's go to the secret nuclear bunker.
You was on the train, so it didn't matter.
None of us had girlfriends at the time, so we was like fuck it. And anyway, it was that afternoon that we found out that Amy Winehouse had died.
That's
Do you remember?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fucking come down
Strange
to the
old
max.
day,
Yeah.
If you're feeling a bit low, that's not a good place to go.
It was
Just,
it
I
was
mean,
a weird day.
for those that are listening, like, don't tell anyone because it's a secret. But it's sort of Rettendon way, isn't it? Like Hanningfield.
It's Ongar.
Ongar, is it?
Kelvedon.
Kelvedon, yeah. And it's so fucking weird.
Essex.
It's like a tiny little
It looks like
house. It's like a little country house, and you go through the door, and then down this massive slope, and then there's like 3 floors of. It's fucking acres big, isn't it? And but they've kind of like there's hospital wards and there's like radio kind of communications and they've put mannequins in there and it's fucking.
You can dress up as well.
But they do the zombie apocalypse thing in there as well, don't they? And like a big shout out to
Yeah,
Holly from
hello,
Zombie
Holly.
Apocalypse who's made the effort to come down here tonight. Thank you very
you.
much. But yeah, it was. It's a fucking creepy ass place, isn't it?
On the landing page, it describes that it's this discreet bungalow that covers up this huge nuclear base. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And the bungalow does look nonchalant, like anyone's house, except for the fact in the picture there's a fucking tank next to the bungalow. It's not secret.
Where is it? All right, well, look, Mitch, thank you loads, mate. Have a lovely Christmas.
Nice one.
Cheers, buddy.
That's on Chrissy.
Chris, thank you guys.
And
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Don't forget your Brussels sprout, Mitch.
Take a mince pie for the road. Chris, you can open this Bucks Fizz and we got red wine and stuff.
Yeah, I
like,
need a
does
drink.
anyone else want a mince pie?
Mince pies up the front here.
Yeah.
Do you want them? Pass them
I'll
round.
tell you what. Let's
We'll pass them round. Go on, Shu. Pass them round. Pass those ones round. Just there. Are they not as good as them ones then? I'm just saying. My mum made those ones. So, yeah. So, look, Gemma and Carla want one. Oh, yeah. Have you got it? Did you buy it? Yeah, please, mate. Can I have it? Yeah, I'll have it. I'm opening a bottle here. Can't do both at the same time.
So the reason it's been quiet is I've just been
Thank you, mate.
out in the audience giving out some suspicious looking mince pies, and I would be suspicious because the geezer that bought them has just given me a bag of his own pubic hair. Well, look, our next guest has been a previous guest twice. One podcast didn't make the release because it spiralled fucking badly into drunken carnage, but the second one was one of our most popular.
Definitely.
And I know her podcast with Pip has been very, very popular as well. So please show your appreciation for our next guest, Miss Jordan Gray.
Sweetheart. Oh, you nearly fell.
It's a big step.
Why is there a redundantly small step to get up onto this massive stage?
It's ridiculous.
You might as well not even be there. Hello, everyone. Right.
As Brad says, there's always time for safety. Thank you, Bradley.
Right. Good evening.
That,
you doing, Jordan? You
That's
all
the
right?
Right,
pose.
thanks.
Would
Circuit
you like a mince pie?
Definitely not.
Would you like
Yeah.
A little dip in there. Go on, you have a
Dip in
I've never bought you pubes, have I?
No, you got Pip pubes. He got you pubes, didn't he? Yeah.
And you had them by your bed for yonks, didn't you? That's weird, man.
That-
It's weird that I got you them, but it's weird that you kept them by your bed. Oh, I'm sorry, but that's one less you have to buy now, or two, because Mitch has ungratefully left his there.
You.
Jordan, how have you been?
All right, thank you. Feeling all right, guys.
You've been doing a bit of the old comedy, yeah?
Yeah, I moved into stand-up comedy after 10 years in pop music industry.
Congratulations, and you've moved in quite successfully because you just got Comedian of the Year, Chelmsford. I believe.
Colchester, in
Oh,
fact.
There you go. Begins with a C.
That's all right. Thank
All
you very
guesswork.
much.
Well done.
Is there anyone from Colchester here? Then it is completely redundant.
Yeah, congratulations. Are you not doing another one? Is there not another one in London that you're in the
I
running
qualified for the semi-finals of the Leicester Square Comedian 2000 and whatever we're in now.
You're in the big leagues.
Smashing it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm loving it. It's all right, guys. Why did you ask us all to put on Christmas jumpers? and
I
then not
didn't.
put- Someone told me to pop on a Christmas jumper.
I
What do you think I'm wearing this?
kind of did, and then I also had put it on the ticket sale link, and that's when I said to you we should have Christmas jumpers, and you were like, I can't fucking hate Christmas jumpers, fuck it, and I just thought, yeah, you're kind of right, and it'll just be funny if people show up and we're not, so it's kind of paid off.
Anyone wearing a Christmas? No, no one's
Yeah,
wearing.
no.
A Christmas. They are.
Tuesday's got
Tuesday,
one,
well
Crimes
done,
of the
well
Stone
done.
Age. It's got reindeers mating on the front. So
Sexy and festive.
yeah, just the tip. Just the
If you
tip.
nudge just the tip in, it don't can.
It's not sex.
Yeah.
It's not sex. So
Jordan,
what are we gonna do? We're gonna get straight into your favourite thing about Essex, or
Sure.
get comfy.
There ain't a way of doing it on two seats.
just do you sit how you want to sit? Do you want some Bucks Fizz?
I'm 6 years sober though. Thanks, mate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers.
What was amazing was you'd done the same at the London one, and she told you then.
I like to just share.
You're like a
things with
feeder.
people,
What's
yeah.
wrong with you?
Would you like some Bucks Fizz?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Does anyone else?
I've opened that bottle. I couldn't have got into that in any way, shape, or form. So. No, okay.
Jordan, let's discuss. Thank you, Chris. Let's discuss Essex and what do you like most about it? We've done perceptions of Essex folk from the lovely lads on TheMilk, and now Jordan Gray is going to do number 4. They're not in any order. Obviously, you're just picking one.
Yeah.
So before you chose what you chose, what else kind of?
My favourite
consider?
thing, the thing that's at the top of my list, is a person that is famously from Essex, and that is Mr. Russell
Thank you.
Brand.
Oh, sorry.
Russell Brand's one of my favourite people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't just. I spend all my time harping on about him, to the point where I've now just become 2006 Russell Brand. That's what I'm doing for you guys right now. So yeah, and I've changed it from a person to a geographical location. My favourite thing about Essex is Southend. Is anyone here from Southend? All right.
Good shout, by the way.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Big up the South End. What is it?
I've moved there recently with my lovely fiance. It's really nice. Someone mentioned Chinnery's a little bit earlier. Chinnery's is there. The thing for me is that I'm 28 years old now, and I think that as you get older, you start thinking not just about your place in the world, but your place in time. And I think that the British seaside is a quintessential part of the English experience, and it ties us back to our roots. Sort of like all that kitsch Victorian sort of thing about the amusement arcades. The amusement arcades is my favourite thing about Southend.
Yeah.
To think that the point where a bit of currency became so redundant that we started to use it as the physical token in a game. That to me is quite fascinating. Except for when it goes down the sides. When you think you're going to win loads, and then it all goes, what are you up to, Duncan Valentine? What's that all about?
Did you ever used to give it a cheeky little nudge?
No?
Because if you do that, I used to accidentally do it a lot, and alarms go off throughout the arcade.
And I will verify that. 2 years ago, I took my children to Canvey Island, where they've still got the kind of 2p ones where it goes like that. And
you
then
didn't even take them to Southend.
No, too far.
You hate your kids.
And you've got the two kind of draw type things, and obviously the coin teeters on the end. And I'm just trying to explain that to people that can't see the visual representation I'm doing right now. But my youngest was really young, and kind of put all her money in and didn't really get anything and was kind of looked really dejected.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at the geezer in the change machine who was just kind of looking at me pissed off. And I just thought, mate, she's just done all her pennies in that. And and you're just looking down your nose. I just thought, right, fuck you. So I
Was he small? Did you think you could take him?
No, he was massive. He looked like he was literally wedged in there.
Okay.
And obviously had a fag on, because I think the non-smoking laws don't apply to people that work in change machines in arcades. They can always have a fag
Even the
on.
kids smoke in
Yeah.
arcades still.
So I gave it a proper fucking barge, and shitloads of 2p's come out. Like literally, she was minted like 50p, and it went wah, 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 and this geezer literally tried to pull himself through the door, and he was like, "Mate, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't touch it." And he, what's he going to do? Is he going to call the police that I've just cheated his arcade out of like 48p? Yeah. So the alarms definitely do work.
It almost doesn't warrant having them in there for the amount that you're going to lose from a single nudge.
No, exactly.
It costs to implement an alarm system for that amount of tuppence.
When you was young though, and you'd see them machines, would you kind of, when you'd done your money, just kind of wander around waiting for a lone 2p that just would fall through?
It does happen.
It does happen.
It happens. It's like finding porn in the woods. It does happen. You will find it.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
If you hang out in woods long enough, you will find forest porn. I think it grows there.
Forest porn.
I can't claim thanks to that. That was Bobby Bloomfield from who came on the last live show, was telling me about his quest for forest porn. So just kind of stuck. I woke up the next day and I just had a note in my phone just saying Bobby Bloomfield forest porn.
Oh, that's a great Tinder profile.
So I would. Southend is amazing, and I think that's a great choice, Jordan. We were
magical.
saying on Facebook, and I'd probably say the arcades. I have such fond memories of the arcades, and maybe the Games Workshop. We don't have to go into that. It's just the best place. Is there any other parts of Southend that you sort of dig?
The bit when you get to the beach and then it's just water for ages. That bit, like the ocean.
The sea.
The Thames.
Because I think when you're in a commuter county, like we're in, like we're saying earlier, I didn't say it, you guys said it earlier, going into London, I think living by the ocean is the antithesis of that feeling. It's like you can breathe, you don't feel so claustrophobic when you live on the seaside like that. A lot of homeless people in Southend, and that's got a weird romanticism to it. I think it's like as far as you can push people until they're actually in the water. So it's like that's where they were. And they're an amazing bunch to talk to. There's a real camaraderie.
But have you been watching the recent documentary on BBC about it?
No, tell me about it.
It's all based in Brighton. And
So not about it then.
And no, it's that kind of
Get off, Stu.
because people like for some reason I might be wrong. Aside from London, but I do believe that a lot of homeless people gravitate towards seaside towns.
Right, yeah.
And yes, it's kind of all about the homeless in Brighton and their drug dependency, and it's quite a fucking brutal watch, and it's all based on sort of heroin, so it's quite bleak and. Probably not the most joyous thing to discuss on a Christmas podcast with a bloke in a Christmas hat. But can I just be a bit of a minge here? But I fucking hate Southend.
No.
I really don't like Southend.
Do you have you ever liked it? Because my relationship
As a kid, it was amazing. But because when you was, I'm talking little kid, like parents would take you to Southend, and you get to play on the machines, and you couldn't do that anywhere else round here. And it was kind of good then, and it was the seaside. But that, I think by the time I got to like leaving school, and some of my friends here went to college there, and we was all doing gigs there, and every Saturday me and some of my pals would go to Southend every Saturday on a quest for I don't know what, but we'd go to Southend every Saturday, we'd drive up there and we'd go to a couple of record shops and then wander around, walk down the front and get a fucking Rossi and like, and...
Why do you say that with such disdain? At
the time, I think we just done it. But, all right, the root of it is I've tried for about 10 years to set up a successful club night in Southend, and they've all fucking bombed massively. I can't make it happen.
Okay.
Yeah, even me and Pip, and we tried one there, and we had the greatest fucking lineup ever. And it
No, the first one was dope.
Yeah,
I think, and then didn't they they renovated it as well? And I think
No, they've never renovated that venue.
Oh,
We'd
no.
get there and there was shit everywhere.
No, the sunrooms. The sunrooms.
Well done for naming it.
They made. Oh yeah. it's a burger joint now, so we haven't got to worry.
Yeah.
But they sort of tried to make it look cool, and I think it sucked the soul out of it because we used to go drinking up there quite a lot, didn't we, gentlemen? They don't have a microphone, so it's
So
a
I
one-way
would suggest that Chris is
conversation.
just addressing a select few,
But,
not the whole audience. He didn't just go
No,
to Southend every...
all that motley crew there. We used to love going to sunrooms when it was yellow and quite bohemian. But then they made it all industrial and fucked it.
You say bohemian. I know for a fact, right, that your total fucking
Is this
story
are we
here-
going back to oysters somehow?
No, don't start on fucking oysters. Like the only oysters you get in Southend are the ones from Rossi's, right?
Yeah.
But you could maybe get away with smoking weed in there.
Oh, 100%.
There you go. That doesn't
100%.
make it bohemian.
Yeah.
That's
no,
like
it
a
was good.
posh crack den.
No, it was No, it was
And
amazing.
it's full of middle class people from Leon C.
It might be now, but back then it wasn't. It was a good crack. It wasn't middle class.
There was
back
good
then.
crack, yeah?
And I think it was amazing crack. Aaron, who's here, used to get me. He was a barman in there, and that was back when it was good. And yeah, it was amazing. He used to get very drunk. But that was the point. Just after that is when Southend kind of, I don't know, it just sort of changed. I don't think it's got the same vibe that it used to have.
It got a boy racer reputation for a little while, didn't it?
Like, it's kind of always had. I think it's kind of always had that, Jordan. Like Friday night, like even when I was 15, 16, 17, there was still that whole go down the seafront in your car. I had a car at 15, and there was that. But I think I don't know. Now it seems that there's maybe only that stands out more. I don't
Tell you what else is shit. Air show. yeah, we're going to go to air show. Amazing. Let's just fucking stand and look like that so your neck hurts all day looking at planes.
You are a lanky streak of piss.
Mate, I can sit in my back garden and
Listen,
look at fucking planes.
I reckon the planes
I ain't
are
got to sit in traffic for 2 hours.
I reckon the planes are just go kudunk, kudunk, kudunk into your big old head.
And do you know what else annoys me about Southend? That kind of perception.
Do I need to spear for this?
No,
Just running my idea.
This is like the
Properly
coffee.
into
This is like the
grounds.
coffee enema.
It was that thing where in EastEnders in the 80s, the Fowlers would like really push the boat out and go to Leon Sea for some seafood.
Best place to do it. You've got a boat. Just saying.
They Fowlers didn't have a boat; they got the train. And like you'd go there, and it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to Leon Sea. And occasionally the camera crew would go from Albert Square to Leon Sea to film Mark Fowler get off his motorbike and get some cockles. Shit, that's not entertainment. You can get seafood fucking anywhere now. You ain't got to go to Leon Sea and be surrounded by blokes with flip-flops and fucking toe rings, like with a really expensive fucking haircut, drinking some wafty coffee. Like, nah, it's not for me, mate.
Do you know what? Like on Jordan's radio show, she does a thing called "You've Been Trumbled," which basically involves. Well, actually, Jordan, do you know what? I'll let you explain it.
Stuart, you have unwittingly entered into You've Been Trumbled. I've hijacked this episode to do my feature. It's when you say your favourite thing and the other person has to run it into the ground as effectively as possible. We had a good old go at it. Chris won. And you've just done it with Southend. I come on here and tell you I love it. Now, I don't anymore.
Sorry.
That's it. Russell
Just got
Brand.
you up
I'll
on
go back to
stage,
Russell
you've just been
Brand.
really horrible about it.
The arcades, everyone smokes in there. The air show, that's fucking shit.
I'm
Sorry,
right, though.
Jordan. You're not. No, I love
Right,
smoking in
okay,
the
right.
arcades, even to this
And
day.
it sells a fucking dream that don't exist. Tots, talk of the South. No, it's fucking not. There's loads of things about the South. That club ain't one of them.
I woke up in Tots once.
If you had to talk about the South,
Yeah.
would you ever mention Tots nightclub?
Yeah, I would.
Bullshit.
No, I would. Yeah.
Why would you be talking about that when you can go and fucking smoke some crack in sunrooms?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. But Mark,
It is a good point.
Mark, I think the only time I went was a few of us went and Mark was there, Irvine, wherever he is, and I was getting a bit sleepy in there because it's fucking dire, and I was looking for a place to have a sleep in the nightclub. Mark was like, "You can't sleep in the nightclub." I was like, "Okay, mate. I'm just going to go to the toilet." Then he was like, "Okay." And then I went in the toilet, just curled around the porcelain toilet, fell asleep.
Classy.
Yeah, grim. I woke up and I was like, I'm never coming back here. This is the worst nightclub. So, yeah, I would talk about it, but not positively. No. One of my friends said I went last week, and I can neither confirm nor deny that. So I don't know if you're joking about it or not.
Okay, right. Well, what was the other? You was going to do Russell Brand.
Oh, I
Was there
did.
any- Did you really go to Tots last week?
I think they've renamed it, haven't they? Okay, wow.
It's called Talk.
Crazy night that was. Yeah.
First and only nightclub I've ever been to, I went to in Southend. And I
Really?
got off with Transgender Bird before I myself had transitioned. So I remember it quite fondly.
Let me tell you about the one time I went to Talk. Right. So about 4 years ago, they decided they were going to do some fucking indie night. And so one of the people said, "Oh, will you come and DJ upstairs in this little thing called Bar Blue?" So I was like, "Yeah, all right, okay." So I went down there and I was playing some tunes and that. But then they had their big party night downstairs, and I noticed that live tonight was Betty Boo, and I just thought, "God, I loved her." So I thought, right, I'm going to go and DJ, and I'm going to go downstairs and watch Betty Boo perform. There was about 6 people down there, and I will verify that it weren't you, and it definitely weren't me. There was one bloke, and I promise you, was standing right at the front of the stage while she was singing, doing the do, and he had both his hands down the front of his trousers, just watching her. Southend, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeez.
See, I was going to bring that up as a positive. You've spun it the other way.
Have you ever had that weird moment when you're performing and someone's just there, just right in front of you?
Yeah, okay. Quite a few people at the front. Yeah, never doing that though.
No,
That's
just-
unusual.
Yeah, but have you ever had just it's been a quieter night and
We're
there's
not
just
all
one
like you,
person?
mate.
just checking. I've seen. I came down to watch you play, didn't I? And that was really cool. Like super. You were beatboxing, singing amazingly, and playing the fucking piano. And you had one foot up on the piano, like a
And
don.
2 hands down the front of my trousers.
Yeah,
at the same
yeah.
time.
I didn't know how you was doing it.
Well, I will
cool.
say it. I will say it because I've said it to you when you come round, and I was at work the other weekend, and I was saying about who was coming on tonight, and I was saying to the guy that works at the club with me, I said, "Yeah, Jordan's coming on," and he said, "Oh, who's she?" And I was like, "Oh, it's my friend. I've known her years," and I said she was on The Voice, and he was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "Look, I'll show you something on YouTube," and I put on your performance of A Woman's Work by Kate Bush. And he's quite a leery fella, and he sat in silence, and I was sitting there, and as I've said to you many times, it's a fucking amazing performance, and your voice is absolutely fucking incredible on it, and it finished, and he's never once really got on the level with me about anything. He was like, "Fucking hell, it's beautiful," and I was like, "Really was, really was." So if you haven't watched that,
Yeah.
Jordan Gray performing
It
Woman's
weren't a
Work.
question. That was weird. Raise your hands if you didn't see me on The Voice last year. Yeah, oh.
Please do a freestyle.
Probably.
Favourite thing about Essex.
So if you
After
didn't
you,
hear
love.
that, if you didn't hear that,
I don't understand what that means. We'll keep it
someone's
going.
just asked you to do a freestyle about the thing you love about
Would
Essex.
it be appropriate to do that in the form of an interpretive dance?
I mean, yeah, I'm all for
I mean,
that. We're filming it.
It's not really
today.
podcast gold.
Well, we've.
Just to explain how a podcast works, it's an audio.
Perhaps later on tonight, you and I can get together and I shall give you a freelance performance.
Let's do
freelance
that, let's
and
do
freestyle
that.
performance
Well, look,
of my favourite thing about Essex, which is you now. Oh, fuck that then. Thank you for having me, guys. It's been really sweet.
Jordan,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you very,
Cheers.
very,
And
very much.
yes, and we will now, when Jordan makes her way off of the stage, we will get, ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Gray. And we will now introduce us on stage the guest that's now going to the toilet, answering his phone.
Take care, mate. Okay, let's fill it. Or shall we get let's get Scroobius up. For a
Yeah,
little chat.
Pip.
Come on,
and
mate.
fill the void.
Come on.
Come and fill the void.
Come fill
Ladies
the
and gentlemen,
space.
Mr. Scroobius Pip. Hello.
All right, mate. All right. Got a little present for you, haven't I? Yeah. Yeah. Just have a little dive
I
down
don't
there.
know who's here. This is lovely. Just looking who's here. This is good. You enjoying
right?
it, lads?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all right.
it's good.
Do you know what? A bit nerve-wracking, but we're all right.
Is it like that advert that's on TV at the moment, where it's that man standing at the front? He's like, "Sit down. If you didn't know, my nickname at school was this," and then he does all that, and then sit down if we've fallen out of touch with each other. It's all his friends, everyone he's met over the years. Sitting down, it's depressing and no one likes him.
Scroobius Pip, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, he's had him out the toilet.
Merry Christmas.
Has no one seen an advert? It's good. It's about tea or coffee or something. I got a sprout. Anyone
I'm
wondering?
sorry, mate. I'm sorry.
How you been?
It's
All
against
right?
the brakes.
Yeah, not bad. I'm tired, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Been being a big deal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, what you
doing
been
my
doing?
best. Been doing some podcasts.
Okay.
Been lining up some podcasts.
Give us some names.
Well, one I can't announce, but I've confirmed for my 200th show that my special guest is going to be Jordan's favourite thing about Essex.
No.
So Southend, which is going to be is going to be great fun.
Oh,
so
that's
yeah,
amazing.
But I did one today with a guy called Guz Khan, who's a really good comedian, and then I'm doing one tomorrow with Lena Headey from Game of Thrones.
Wow.
And then on Monday with Paloma Faith and maybe the phone jacker guy. What's his name?
Oh, what, from
Kovac.
Lions?
Yeah.
Man,
I got that
wicked.
email today about that, which I don't know that much about him, but it'll be good.
You've
Don't-
done,
don't tell anyone
you've done cracking with the guests that you've had.
It's been
I've
good
heard.
fun.
I've struggled to listen to any.
Yeah, I know. Listen to
The
yours.
the one I was compelled to listen to, but then
The one.
didn't,
The drunk cast.
was your film one.
Yeah,
Um,
I've done my
some-
on my films of 2017.
What was your process? Because you're quite a good guest on this show. Because you really, when you go listing, you go
I prep, right?
yeah,
You're a fucking
crazy
anorak.
for it. Yeah.
Well,
That's what you're saying, isn't it?
yeah.
That's
you're
nice
a
of you.
loser.
Thanks for having me. So at the beginning of January, I listed every time I went to the cinema. So I've made a list of every film.
Is that all January?
No, that's this year.
I was
That's
going
not
to
all
say.
January.
I was going to say, how do you do anything?
That's why he's successful. He's doing that. You're at home trimming your pubic hair.
Wrapping up sprouts.
Time will tell, my friend. Plus, in my notes, I've got Bobby Bloomfield forest porn. So,
And then I just put a star by the ones I thought would be my favourite, and then I went through and gradually deleted stars.
good job, man. Good job.
Thanks, man.
What's the plans for the next year, Pip? What are you going?
Hang out with us, Les?
I don't know, really. Do some podcasts and that. Do some acting.
We're doing a Christmas drunk cast next week.
Yes, we are. That's going to be good fun.
Yeah.
This is boring for everyone else, but logistically,
Yeah.
how are we getting there? What's happening?
And my
Chris,
mum.
we do not start
Genuinely-
organising our travel plans
Genuinely,
when there's a
this is-
fucking audience
This
there.
is good and relevant
Yeah.
because tonight it was confirmed that my mum's taking us and picking us up.
Were you kidding?
No.
Jenny, do not do
She
this.
agrees.
This is chaos. Because I was really misbehaving the other day.
Yep.
Ian's not here because he said he'll come dependent on my performance on Saturday night. He's not here now.
Was this when he come out of the book club and kicked me?
That was one of the nights. Yeah, he kicked you and made some inappropriate jokes.
Yeah.
Oh
You were a bit
man,
of a
Jenny,
mess
that
that
is
night,
that is a really bad idea, Jenny. Oh,
put
I'm
earplugs
so
in.
sorry already.
Are you apologising in advance?
Yeah. Well, while I mean it.
So that's going to be fun. So
Yeah,
she's
can't
going to drop us off and then go and busy herself for 5 hours.
Like a chauffeur. What's he paying you, Jenny?
Sorry,
you're going to be like the chauffeur in Die Hard 2,
This isn't-
basically.
this
Just
isn't
sat there doing
This
fuck
isn't
all.
interesting for
So
anyone else,
you-
but my aunt lives up the road from where we're recording it, so she's going to go and see
you,
me
you
aunt.
told us something when we was going to book club to do our night the other week, where you said that you went to just to name drop your fucking big deal. You went to Tom Hardy's party, didn't you?
Yeah.
And was hanging out with all these fucking big names. And then obviously everyone leaves and gets fucking nice cars home. What did you do?
I rang my mum for a lift.
That's the coolest thing that's ever happened.
I was getting my phone out and I was about to look on to get a cab or something, and then I saw that she was up tweeting. in fact, last night,
So you hadn't planned it?
no, I hadn't planned it. I did it on the fly. But last night, if you look on my Twitter on my app replies, I was getting the train home. I can't think. What from yesterday? Or from a podcast maybe. And I looked on Twitter and my mum had just tweeted saying, "Oh, for God's sake, I just got to the train at Fenchurch Street and the doors have closed." And she'd just missed the train I was on. And we organised over Twitter for me to come and pick her up and give her a lift home.
Swings and
Which is
roundabouts.
a delightful
That's kind of nice.
a use of social media.
Yeah,
So
it
that was
is.
fun.
Yeah, you social media. Did you pick her up?
Yeah.
okay.
Only because I
Jenny, did he pick you up? Is this bullshit?
Only because it
You-
looked good
you
on
shook your
social
head like-
media, and some guy had started liking all the comments and saying what a nice son I was. So I was
you
like,
both.
I'll pick you up, Mum. I didn't mention that it's literally the station's there and she lives there. So I was look good.
Okay, well look, our guest has come back from the lavatory now. So
Well, can I give my favourite thing about Essex?
have you got
or-
one?
Yeah, I've got one.
I didn't. You weren't sure. You was being so non-committal about coming on tonight. We was like, has he actually thought of one?
Oh, I
Have
can
you
do
thought
something
of
quite embarrassing in a minute as well. Go on, you
What?
do
Go
your
on,
one.
no,
No,
no, it's
you first, mate. And it's not about you.
Oh,
No,
set
yeah,
it
yeah,
down. I had a good think about it when you started having people up here. Also, I also wanted to mention that this is the third time I've been to the Civic. And the first time, I was 15, and your band were playing in an all-dayer with Big Red. The second time, your band had a reunion about 5 years ago. And the third time is this.
I would say that it's not. It's the fourth.
Is it the fourth?
I can't remember it, but you was here for my 40th birthday party.
Oh, really? And there was a bigger turnout then too, so... Because I was going to say, the crowd genuinely has got smaller each one. Yes. That all day was in the big hall. Yeah, so that's true. But yeah, no, I had a good thing, and my favourite thing about Essex, genuinely, a genuine one, is Pitsy Tesco's.
Yeah. Whoa, do you remember when it first opened?
Tesco's, yeah, because they had the big penguins and stuff.
Yeah.
So we'd go in there drunk, Mum, not on hallucinogenic drugs because they're illegal, just drunk. And there was a giant cow, and it's just a really good Tesco's. It's always got all the new flavours of Ben and Jerry's. Good pizzas, good everything. It's got cockles and stuff, so it's
You're covered.
It saves your South End. People will be surprised about it, so it's got the Milk's one covered as well. So I reckon by the end of the night, you'll be able to get everyone's favourite thing about Essex in Pitsy Tesco's.
That is pretty sweet.
And get 30% off with a Baz card.
Yeah, exactly. It's golden.
That's going back in my pocket actually before it gets cheap. When Pitsy Tesco's opened, people are clicking off, not listening to this.
Genuinely
bit
a
now.
really good
Right.
Tesco's. Like,
Right,
this looks like I'm being kooky.
No.
and ironic, but
24-hour
I've never been to a better
Tesco's.
Tesco's.
They had people working there on roller skates.
You're right. You're
It was
right.
that old boy, wasn't it? There was like one particular old guy that had
Yeah.
roller skate about.
Yeah. How
He
amazing is
died.
that?
He died.
Yeah, he had a roller skating accident.
He did.
Far too old to be doing
Went
that.
into a mountain of 3-litre bottles of roller cola. Just fucking wiped him out.
Did you just hit yourself in the face with a
Yes, I
microphone,
did.
Stu? Thank you. just in case people don't hear that. Yeah, that's a lovely one. That is definitely pedestrian, which is what I'd expect from you.
No, but it's honest. The thing, like when Jordan, I'm not hijacking, I'll get off in a minute, but when a Jordan was talking about Southend, if it was still there, my favourite thing would have been, and everyone I tell this never went, but my mum and dad took me there because they were cheap. There was this thing that was basically in a cave, right? And behind glass, you'd walk along and a light would come on and it'd be He-Man.
Yeah.
And it'd say, I am He-Man, blah, blah, blah. And then you'd walk along and a new light would come on. It'd go, Skeletor is here. And it'd tell a story of a He-Man episode, but just with lights on static toys that they'd just bought from the shops.
Southend?
It was in Southend. It was opposite
Yeah.
Peter Pan's playground.
But the weird link is Pitsy Tesco's, before it was Pitsy Tesco's 24-hour, they used to, back when I was like 8 and 9 with my Baz card, they used to do little toy displays of all the G.I. Joe shit behind glass. And that was a highlight for me. I'd go there, I'd be so excited to
Stu's
see
not
just some
into-
toys.
Stu's face is not into Pitsy Tesco's at all. Have you
Mate,
been?
when you were
Right, if
doing
he
all-
wasn't into Southend, mate, he's not going to be
Yeah.
into Pitsy
I
Tesco's.
guess you
I'm
live
older. I'm
near
older.
to
When they
Barrett
opened a
Tesco.
You're older.
they opened a Saver Centre in Basildon.
That's my first job.
That was a
Yeah.
game-changing
It was a game
supermarket.
changer.
Opening it.
Yeah.
Were you the celebrity that opened it?
Yeah.
The boy that had the first Baz card will be opening Saver Centre in his jumper.
30% off everything!
Only for me and my Baz card. Yeah.
Anyway, shall I
yeah,
go
yeah,
now, as
fuck
I
off, mate.
wasn't
No, but thank you
intended
so
as a guest?
Thank you so much.
As I'm here because someone went to the toilet. I was sitting at the side in my full kit. Come on, guys, I'm ready.
In the blocks.
I'm ready.
Talking about that, you came to decorate with me in that. Like, look, you came well dressed to decorate with me the other
That's
day.
because you had told me that we were going to be making cabinets.
Oh, what was we doing?
We were like scraping floors before you put tiles down and cutting tiles, wet cutting tiles.
Yeah, my bad.
So I'd been tricked. But
Sorry,
still
buddy.
It was nice. It was a nice time.
Yeah, man. And well, can't wait for the drunk cast next week.
It
Kind
should
of
be good
really
fun.
scared.
Yeah.
Actually,
It's going to be a mess.
Yeah,
isn't
we've
it?
got someone who's a wrestler who's already said that he's going to smash
no,
you
he
through
hasn't.
a desk.
Why are you fucking doing this?
You are setting him up to do that, aren't you?
Or
You
Jimmy
are.
Havoc is this year's winner of Tournament of Death, which is the biggest hardcore event. It happens in America. It happens out in a field somewhere because they can't get it legal in a building because they just build stuff to put people through. So we'll have a little contest between the two of you.
No, that's ridiculous.
Oh, it's going to be incredible.
No.
Anyway, I'm gonna
Cheers, mate.
Thank you very much,
Cheers,
mate. Don't forget your Sprat.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, so before we have a break, we're going to bring our last guest out for part one. Was a previous guest, and his episode was...
It was one of our favourites, man. Even as soon as we finished that, we were like, that was funny, but it was kind of quite deep.
Yeah,
And
because we was kind of conscious that Adam was in baby shambles, and we didn't want to just talk about that, and we went into that, and then we went through onto what Adam's doing now and his work within mental health and stuff, and it was a really interesting chat, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and
really cool.
I think both of us were completely sober for that one as well.
Yeah, and naked at the end of it. I
He
don't
was,
know
yeah,
how he did
was,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
Adam Fiecek, everyone. Hey, dude. Thanks for coming.
All right.
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Oh, sorry, mate. Let me just move this sock and just grab one of them, mate, just quickly. Just see what you come out with. Do you know what's in here, by the way, mate? Was you here for that?
I'm going for a Rocher.
Oh, okay. Well, just a little update. How many Rochers have gone?
I think
One.
only one. I think Dan had a Rocher,
a
Pip
few.
and Mitch had a Sprat, right? Jordan.
There's a few Rochers in there still.
Oh, right. You've got Sprat dust.
Mate, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Ad. You've been sitting in traffic on the M25.
Got a Sprout.
Oh,
fucking
mate.
You're
Sprout.
spoiling Christmas one by one.
Them's the breaks.
What kind of Sprout is that?
It's I actually. Do you know what? To make this is how far I went with
This
these.
will be guesswork.
Organic?
This isn't guesswork. To make these all equal sized, so that no one could figure out whether it was a Rocher or a Brussels sprout, I peeled Brussels sprouts. I peeled them down and then cut off the end of them. So you're fucking welcome. Sorry about that, mate, but that is one less you need to buy now, or three less. So if you take all of those.
Cheers, thanks.
So, Ad, if you had a little think about what your favourite thing is about... and where did you grow up, Ad?
Well, I grew up in Milton Keynes. I'm not even from Essex, but I thought I'd come over and, just
You
share my
relocated,
Topsworth.
right?
Yeah. Well, my heart's in Essex, obviously. you know.
Yeah, for sure. The within.
Well, I spent 3 years living in Harlow. Long story, but ended up moving out of Milton Keynes, getting into petty crime stuff. Ended up in Harlow doing a BTEC in music. That was my the start of my journey, I guess. Really, yeah. So I said, when you sent it through today, I thought, oh fuck, I forgot to do my top 5. I was trying to think of 5 things, but you said there's only one. So I think, right, as a kid, I always remember putting this record on Ian Jury. He's like, how did it start? Hello, I'm from Essex, in case you couldn't tell. My middle name is... Then it goes on from there. So I thought, well, Ian Jury, that was my first foray into what Essex is on a record for New Boots and Panties, I think.
It's a good shout.
That's a fucking great shout.
We've not touched on music yet. And you just forget in between all the madness that is Baz cards is that we've actually done some pretty fucking cool shit.
Let's not go big in on that yet, because I think other people want to talk about the other variants of music
Of Baz cards.
in Essex and Baz cards. But
Yeah.
did you ever get to see Ian Jury?
I think somewhere, I can't remember where, but I met him once as well. I forgot to say on the podcast. I definitely met him once. It might have been a dream. Or, but no, I'm sure I met him. It's up there with
Quite well
Morrissey.
documented that there was a lot of drugs around baby shambles.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to that podcast, listen to that podcast.
No, somewhere. I mean, I remember going home from that podcast and thinking, I just said I met him, but I think that was a dream. And I couldn't remember whether it was a dream, hallucination, or I did actually meet them. But no, I think I definitely met him somewhere. And but I think it was somewhere. He's doing some festival somewhere. I think. Or he might have been dead by then. I don't know.
Have you read his book?
This is amazing.
No.
Have you read his book?
No. When did he die? What year did he die?
When did he die?
What year? Yeah.
Oh,
Because I can work out then whether it was. Right. Well, I
there
didn't
we go.
meet him
Thank
then.
you, Gary.
I saw him.
That was definitely a dream. That was sorry, I'm spinning a yarn here.
I saw him. I saw him with one of my mates out there. We went to Madstock, which was the first ever Madness reunion show at Finsbury Park, and I think the lineup was pretty impressive. It was Flowered Up, Gallon Drunk, Ian Jury,
Gallon Drunk,
Morrissey, and then Madness. That's a pretty good day. That.
Wow.
Like, and yeah, Ian Jury was fucking great. And but I've since read his book, and he was a fucking odd character. He didn't sound like he was the kind of nicest person on the planet. You know,
I heard a lot of stuff. I mean, I've done a bit of work with his son as well, but he could be a bit Andy at times. I think.
Absolutely. His son's new album, Baxter Jury, you talked about. It's fucking amazing. It is. It's really, really good. He's and I guess he was someone that embraced his accent. Yeah. In there was no. It wasn't affected in any way, was it? It was.
No, it was pretty straight. I don't know, because wasn't he private school educated?
Really, I didn't know.
So sure. You've read his book, Stu.
No, I do think that. I remember kind of thinking, oh right, it's quite authentic. But then reading something somewhere that he was come from quite a middle class background, and it was a little bit put on, I guess.
It was more swooning, wasn't it? It was less. All right, mate. How's it going? So yeah, it wasn't completely.
But Dick Van Dyke.
All right, mate.
and
over the rooftops.
And if I'm correct, when he died, the Blockheads then kind of done a load of shows with another Essex born lad. I believe Phil Jubit's fronted them.
Really?
Yeah, he was always a massive fan, I think. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
So, why Ian Drury? Is that the main thing?
Just because I was at work today and thought, I better come up with something. I thought everyone else would have done it, and I thought, oh no, I forgot I was coming tonight. I was like, all right.
Well, there's a myriad of Essex artists that you could go to, isn't there? And I'm sure that, bizarrely enough, Ian Jury, I'm sure, will be a big influence on guests that are coming up.
It was just that record. I remember putting that record on as a kid. There was two great parts to that. There was that, and there was the bit that starts, arseholes, bastards, fucking cunts and pricks. And that was, for a kid, that's amazing. Oh, listen to this. Woo! It's the best thing in the world, listening to someone swear on the record.
Favourite Ian Jury tune?
Probably Billy Ricky Dicky.
What a fucking tune that is.
On that, it's a great album, isn't it? It's a classic.
Amazing sleeve.
Yeah, Baxter on it.
Yeah.
Front of that shop. Big pair of flares.
What did you do with your son? As in, you didn't leave him somewhere dead.
I'm embellishing a bit. I was working with people that were working with him. I went for an audition drum thing, because what he does, he's very artistic, but he hasn't got much musical stuff going on. So he gets musicians around to do the music, and he puts his lyrics over the top. So I was involved initially doing some drumming stuff for him, but for me, I wasn't around at the time to go and tour it and stuff. So, but he's got great lyrical ideas, but when it comes to music, he needs to get a lot of musicians around him. I guess probably similar to his dad in a way, because the band were phenomenal.
And much like his dad, he doesn't sing. He sort of spits it a bit, doesn't he? He's like he's not a big.
It's his lyrics that are great. His turn of phrase are amazing. But I can't even remember any now. You're going to ask me, I don't know.
Now, I remember like growing up and seeing Ian Jury doing rhythm stick on Top of the Pops, and just thinking, fucking hell, what's going on? There's like a geezer with like, I believe it was
polio, didn't
he? Polio, and so he walked with a limp.
Yeah, so he had like an arm, a small arm, didn't he?
And
what's that? Say that again.
Yeah. And,
what in Southend? Sorry, Lloyd, I'm a little deaf. Oh,
really got polio in Southend? Jordan, I fucking told you, he's shit.
See? So for people who didn't hear that, a friend of ours just said Ian Jury got caught in Southend.
In the sea.
There you go.
Fucking hell.
Eating seafood.
Did he? In a swimming pool?
That's right, he did. That's right, yeah. Fucking awful place.
I hear what you well, I wonder which one.
All right, well, look, should we stop and have a quick pint?
Let's have a little drinky. Let's have a break.
For a piss.
And we'll come back in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah?
All right. Thank you loads,
Adam,
mate.
thank you so much, mate.
Tonight.